Hello and welcome to Reginald ESQ. I'm Underhook and this is Empyrion Galactic Survival and we are making our starter vessel. This is the base exactly as we left it in our last episode where we made our first base. I've just done some decorations but everything else is exactly as it was. So now we're going to make a starter vessel. First thing we're going to do is I've got myself to level 7. You pretty much need to be level 7 to do the vessel, I think. The way I got XP was collecting food and flowers is the main way. If you look on the left there, you get 100 XP just for picking one of those. And if you mine one of these little nodes, you only get 50 XP for these. So picking food and flowers is the quickest way, but we do need to get ore nodules as well to make stuff, so feel free to get those. So then you can go into F3 here and we're going to unlock this larger generator. We don't need it, we're not going to use it, but two things that we need, which is the detector right there and the RCS module are locked behind it, and I want both of those, so we had to unlock it to get those. Same goes here for this cargo container. I'm unlocking it even though I don't want to use it because I want the things that are behind it. Then we're going to get small thrusters and we will get the medium thrusters when I wake up in a second. Right now I'm just getting the spotlight, which we will need for landing at night time. And now, yes, we're getting the medium thrusters because I've woken up. And are we going to get the container controllers now? No, we're going to get them later. I'm unlocking the drill, but really you can't use the drill at the moment because we need fuel for the drill and there's not much of that fuel on this planet, so I can't really use it. I have unlocked the shotgun. I'm unlocking the small fridge for the ship because that can be handy. Now I'm unlocking the container controllers. So there's one for wood and ore, there is one for general cargo, there is one for ammunition, and there is also the container extensions. I'm unlocking all of them. I want them all, although I probably won't use the ore and wood one, but the others I definitely want. What am I looking at? I'm just trying to see if there's anything else we left out. Oh, so this is the shield. Shields are really good. At the moment we're not on a high enough level to get shields, but to fuel shields you need this pentaxid tank as well, which we also haven't unlocked yet, but on top of that we can't get any pentaxid to fuel it. So you can find a couple of bits of pentaxid on this planet, but it's really hard. It takes forever because there's very little of it. So it's just not worth it at the moment. So don't buy the rat shields while you're on this planet just starting out. Later on, yes. Now I'm going to unlock the armor. The armor is really important. The main thing is it's got a jetpack, which we need for mining, or at least it helps a lot with mining because it allows us to jump a lot higher. It also gives us a light attached to our helmet so we can actually do stuff at night and see what we're doing. So we don't have to hold the light. And that allows us to be more productive. So it's really worth getting the armor as soon as you can. Making some shotgun rounds. I'm also making the starter block for the small vessel. Remember that you can't be in the small vessel menu when you select that starter block. You have to be in the all menu. You can't be in the any of the individual menus. So select it from the all menu and the block menu and then go to your starter vessel module for the rest of the stuff, because you want to be in the starter vessel menu so you don't accidentally make stuff that's, you know, for a capital vessel or for a base or something by mistake, because there's different size versions of the same thing, so you've got to be a little bit careful. I accidentally clicked on making 10 cockpits. We don't want 10 cockpits, we just want one. So if you click with your left mouse button, it gives you 1. If you shift click, it gives you 10. If you control click, it gives you 100. And I accidentally sometimes do shift click because I use it so often. I sometimes do it when I don't mean to. That's what was going on there. So we're making 10 of the small thrusters because you need quite a few of those. One medium thruster for the main thruster at the back. A cockpit. We'll make a oxygen tank. We'll make a generator. You don't need ventilators with oxygen tanks because the cockpit has its own ventilators internally. So with a base and a capital ship you need ventilators, but you don't need them on a small vessel, so don't worry about that. As long as you put the oxygen anywhere on the ship, it will connect to the cockpit. So I'm also making container controls, one for ammo and one for general ammo, and I'm also going to make a bunch of the little container extension mods. So basically you just connect them to the cargo controllers and it acts like a giant cargo thing. If you are playing the game in the standard mode, it's by far the best way to store cargo. Then we're making our detector as well, which is really important for mining because we're going to have to do a bit of mining. I'm just going to put my armor on now because it's ready. So you put it on and there you go. You can take the helmet on and off with the U key, but if you just push the L key, the light comes on, but if your helmet's not on, the light won't work. This is our normal jumping, and if you look on the left of your screen, bottom left, you'll see a little rocket man symbol, which appears and disappears as I'm turning it on and off. When that's on, your jetpack's on, and you can jump much higher, as you'll see by pressing spacebar. You can jump a long way up. That's great for getting out of holes in the ground when you're mining, which is why I really wanted it before I did any mining. This is our little hover vessel, which we made in the you can make it in the constructor or you can make it in the survival constructor, either one, and it works just fine. You can't store anything or carry anything in it, but it's a little personal transport. It's kind of handy. So I've gone out to where I saw there was a node. There it is there. If that disappears, and it has, I just select my number 8 key. This is the one you find, and just press left mouse button, it shows you where it is. This is the one we found when our original, we crash landed. It was right there on the ground. You just pick it up. I'm doing this at 3 times speed, just using the survival tool to get to the ore. There's the copper there. We're going to mine as much as we can, and I've sped it up and we're finished. And now we're just going to get out of the hole. The jetpack is really handy. It's really hard without a jetpack. There you go, and we made it back. And I made a wireless module, one for the base, which I've just put there, so we can extend this cargo. So we turn the wireless on, and we can put all this stuff in our toolbar. It's really still in the container, but when we put it on the ship, it's really on the ship. I don't know how it works, magic, but hey, we'll take it. And yeah, so it just makes it a lot quicker and easier to build. I've also made one of those for the small vessel as well. It'll be smaller on the small vessel though. I don't know why. So now we're outside. We're going to build. We press 1 because that's where we've got our starter block. 1 on the toolbar when I eventually get back there again. And there's a little arrow on it. It looks like a V. See that arrow? That's got to be pointing to the front. So now the normal rotation keys don't work on this particular block. So if you want to change the direction, you kind of have to just turn and face a different direction. But the actual keys kind of move it more sideways when you're building little ships like this. Okay, so we place that down. It's sort of floating on the grass, but it will sink down in a minute. I've selected the cockpit, which I've got on number 3 on my toolbar. I don't like this one actually. It looks a bit ugly to me. So I right click and I've got more options. The armoured ones are better, but we haven't unlocked the armoured cockpit yet, so we're just going to use a normal one. I'm just going to try and find one I haven't used before, just for a bit of fun, and I haven't used that one before. It looks kind of industrial. I might give it a go. I don't want it on top of the unit. I want it in front. You could put it on top, doesn't matter, but I want it in front, so just trying to... The grass is kind of blocking me a little bit here. It's making it hard to lock onto the other block. That's it, we're down now. You can use the sort of end key in that to sort of move it side to side, the end key and one of the other keys, just to make sure you're lined up, and then left click when you think you're in line, and hopefully we are. Yes we are. Yay! Okay, so now we can start putting all the other stuff on. So we'll put, I think, the what do you call it, the power unit down first. Generator, that's it. Put that on there. Now when I first built a ship, when I put the fuel tank on, which is what I'm going to put on next, I thought it had to be like, you had to have access from the outside so you could put fuel in, but in actual fact it doesn't matter. You can put it anywhere, and then you just press P anywhere on the vehicle and do it that way. I'm just showing you, this is what I did when I used to do it. I used to put it like that and I'd access it from the roof. But it's far better not to do that, because if the fuel tank gets shot and it explodes, it might take another unit out with it. So anyway, I'm putting the oxygen there, and we'll put the medium thruster at the back. Medium thrusters are better. If you're going to use multiple engines, you're better off just putting a single bigger engine most of the time. So 1 medium is better than 2 smalls, put it that way. Similar power, less fuel, or something like that. Oh, these are the controllers. You can't tell which one's which, but the one with danger and the lines on it, that's the one for ammo. The other one just says cargo or something on it. So when you see the one with those lines on it and it says danger, that's ammo. And the other one, I think it just says cargo container or something on it. Yeah. So when we put the little, we're going to put the RCS modules on now, which allow it to turn. I'm putting 2 on, so it'll turn quicker, I think. when the more of them you put on, the quicker your ship will turn, apparently, from side to side. Well, left to right, yeah, turning, anyway. I'd never used them before. I used to just use engines, so I'd put two, one at the front, one at the back pointing left, one at the front, one at the back pointing right, and use those to turn, because I thought that would be better, but it's worse. It's much slower. So it's more effective to just use the RCS modules, which I didn't realise until I built this ship, actually, just for this. So this whole scenario, I've just started a new game just so I can do these tutorials, but so I'm not, don't really care too much what I'm doing here, but yeah. So I'm putting 4 engines pointing down. You need a lot of downward thrust, because if you have a lot of cargo, it's harder to take off. So it's really important. If you don't have enough downward thrust, you might not be able to take off. Or also, if you're coming into land, like you've been in space, loaded up, and come to land the planet, suddenly find you can't stop because you haven't enough downward thrust. So downward thrust really important. Sorry, upward thrust really important. So you want a lot of engines pointing down. Downward thrust, with gravity, you don't really need it, other than it helps you to point your front and back. Helps you. Is it yaw and pitch? Is that right? Anyway, it helps you do that. So I'm just putting 2 engines, one at the front, one at the back facing up, and 4 facing down. So we've got more lift. You need downward thrust if you're landing on a planet, or you're landing in space where there's no gravity as well. I put a Gatling gun there at the front in the middle, and this is our ammo container, and I'm just going to put the ammo in, and because it's an ammo controller, it will feed ammo to the guns automatically, even though it's not connected to the gun by Wi-Fi or something. So this is our other one, our general cargo container, and I'm starting to connect these container extensions to it. As long as the first one is touching, all the others it'll all be considered as one container. Now this one here is not touching it, and it won't be joined with it. I'm going to connect them up though. I just keep running out of containers and having to go back and make more off screen. Now I'm putting some metal little steel blocks in, just to give us a bit of armor from the front, and I've got sloping ones because they look cooler. Them in, and I'm tossing up whether or not I want to put one in the middle. I'm just wondering if it's going to block my view too much, and I think it might, so I'm just going to leave it out. This is the detector. You can put it anywhere, it doesn't matter where you put it. So engine placement is important. Everything else doesn't matter too much, except for you want your delicate stuff internal if you can. Stuff that's going to blow up or stop your ship from functioning. So now we've connected up these containers, so it'll all be connected to that cargo container. I'm not going to connect any to the ammo. I could, and that would let me give me more ammo storage. But if you do that and you can't connect 2 extenders to each other that are from different controllers, it won't let you do it. Okay, so now I'm going to rotate. I'm putting a light there because I just thought I forgot to put the light anywhere, so that I will just put it there. I selected an angled one to put in to make it sort of match the front. Hey, looks are important, right? Yeah. So I'm going to put some armor on the back. So the way I figure is you need a bit of armor at the front, so if you're shooting at someone, they're shooting back at you, you've got to have armor. And then if you lose, you got to run, so you need your armor on the back. So I put armor on the front, armor on the back, and I don't worry about the sides. It all adds weight, so you kind of got to pick and choose to a certain extent. Now I'm grabbing some oxygen and fuel, so we'll put all that in while we're at it. So just press P, so you don't need to have anything external. I've accidentally selected fuel, and I'm trying to put oxygen in the fuel tank. It's telling me I can't do it up the top, and I'm going what, and then I realised. So put the fuel in the fuel tank. So 13 is 43%, so it probably takes about 30 of those suckers to fill it. So making fuel is the biggest drawback. Later on you get other sources of fuel and it's a lot easier, but at the start it's a little bit cumbersome. Then we'll select the air this time and put air in the air tank, and only took about 4 of them to fill it, so that's pretty good. And now I'm putting some more armor. I think I ran out of blocks before, which is why I did the other thing. So I'm just putting these up so my cargo is not exposed to rear fire. If it does get hit, it takes the empty ones first. But if your cargo's full, you probably start losing cargo. I haven't had that happen yet. Just covering the back of the engine. You can actually put them, I believe, on top of the thrust, and the thrust still works. But for role-playing purposes, I don't do that. That's my wireless connector. As you can see, it's a lot smaller when you put it on a small vessel. And that's essential for mining. And not only for mining, but for raiding points of interest. If you're inside a point of interest, if you can just automatically send the stuff you're looting back to your ship and leave your inventory free, it's really good. I'm using the painting tool now and just painting it a very subtle, inconspicuous colour so no one can see me. I'm playing PvE, so it doesn't make any difference, and I like to have a brightly coloured ship so that I can see it at night time. You do have an indicator on your HUD that shows you where your ship is, but I like to be able to actually see it as well. I'll probably miss a couple of bits, which if you're OCD is going to drive you crazy, but you know. Anyway, let's get in and see if we can fly this sucker. Press the F key to enter, and then press the P for power. It looks like a barn find with all the grass growing in it. Okay, and that bottom one, pilot mode, don't use that when you first start flying. So all you have to do is really select power. That's the oxygen one, which you need if you're going to go into space, or if you're on a planet that doesn't have oxygen. We've got oxygen here, so I'm just selecting power, and we'll take off. Spacebar is up, C is down, W is thrust. Now that light in front of me is driving me crazy. It's blocking my vision too much. I've got like a lens flare on it or something, so that's got to go. So I'm just going to land and get out and get rid of it basically. Q and E keys rotate or roll, and A and D is side to side, W is forward, S is back, space is up, C is down. Okay, and in we get, and let's go for a joyride. Power on, and W forward thrust, away we go. Now it's feeling really loose and really good, and I figure it's because of these RCS modules, because I've never used them before, and it's flying like, wow, it's so smooth and it turns, and wow, I'm pretty amazed at this stage. I'm having a little bit of trouble controlling it, but it's kind of okay, and then I'm thinking something's a bit wrong here. So I start heading into the base to go back, because I'm starting to think maybe I've forgot something, and now I can't stop. So I flip a little bit to try and use my engines on the back to stop me, and now I realise I haven't got any forward facing engines, so I actually don't have any brakes. So by flipping it up, I used my 4 downward pointing brakes to stop, and I'm trying to do it again using my back brake to stop, but it didn't work and I kind of crashed. Luckily I wasn't going too fast. If you press the O key, it turns you the right way up and makes you level with the ground. So if you ever get kind of stuck or something goes wrong, just push the O key and it'll make you level with the ground. Now I'm just sort of trying to slide along and use the ground as a bit of a brake, so I don't go, I'm just sort of tapping the key and moving a little bit and using the ground as a brake and sort of crashing to a stop here, because I've got to put some brakes on, and I also realised I didn't put any side-to-side engines on either. Because I didn't need them for turning, I forgot that I would still need them for side-to-side movement. So I'll put this one facing forward, so that'll be our brakes. Ideally, I would put a medium engine facing forward. That's really not enough brakes, but anyway, you want to have good brakes. And I figure I'm just going to put a light on the other side. Now that I've got somewhere to put the light. And I'm going to put an engine on each side. So I noticed I was drifting sideways, and it wouldn't stop drifting sideways because I had no side thrust to stop it. I don't know why I thought the RCS module would take care of that, but for some reason it did. But yeah, no, you still need at least one thruster on each side so that if you start drifting you can stop it. So when you've got a couple more engines, we'll whack them in. There we go. Sweet! So back in for another joyride. And power on, up we go. Good. And we have brakes, although they're not very good. We have sideways movement, that's good. So the brakes are still a bit weak, but at least we can stop now. But brakes are really important when you've got like a heavy load on. You really want to be able to stop. So, yeah. V gives you an external view of the ship, like a third-person view, which is handy when you're landing and sometimes just for general flying. You can do whichever one you want. You press the Alt key and you can actually look around like this. It allows you, it's free look. Alt is free look. You can still go up and down, and you can still, well, you can do everything, but you can't turn when you're in free look, so just be aware of that. And I've just noticed this has a window in the bottom, this cockpit. I've never had one with a window in the bottom, and I accidentally pressed F. That was whoops. Don't do that while you're moving. So I'm in the cockpit, I press F so I can free look, and oh yeah, you can look down through there. That'd be handy for landing if you want to like not use the third person view. Okay, so now we may as well go for a trip into space to test it out. So I'm putting the oxygen on. If you don't have oxygen on, I'll use the oxygen in your tank, in your armor suit. But when that runs out, you'll die if you don't have oxygen in your ship. So we're thrusting up at full speed. You can see on the left there of the HUD a little thing going up, and there's also on top of that says orbit, and it says distance to orbit, so that tells you when you're going to be in orbit, which is now. Here we are. And I'm not going to spend much time in space. I don't want to give away anything if you're just playing. I've just turned, you see there, the auto brake. I've turned it off. Now I'm accelerating to full speed and take my finger off the key, and we just drift in silence at full speed because there's nothing stopping us. So in space you can do that. Saves a lot of fuel, and you can see we're still counting down. We're still getting closer to that planet, but we're not using any fuel. So now I've pushed the I key, which turns the brakes back on. I went in the menu and did it before just to show you, but you can just use the I key, turns those brakes on and off, or you can do it from the menu, but I is a lot easier. So now I've got the brakes, I'm just turning to face the planet again. When I'm lined up, I will accelerate. When I hit top speed, I'll press the I key and just drift in. If you do that though, just make sure that when you hit atmosphere, you hit the I key again. Otherwise you'll plunge into the planet because gravity will just pull you straight down. So you need the auto brakes on, or it's a good idea to have them on when you hit the atmosphere. I've put them on already. Because I don't trust my front brakes, I still want to hit the atmosphere at full speed. I'm going to hit it at a sort of a lower speed. But it looks like they're not too bad, not as bad as I thought, so it'll be alright. I have had instances with very heavy loads where you almost can barely stop yourself crashing, so yeah, it's fun. So now we're heading down, and yes, my brakes still aren't very good, so I flip quickly to expose my bottom thrusters, because I've got 4 thrusters on the bottom, so by just flicking it up, instead of the 1 thruster on the front stopping me, the 4 thrusters on the bottom stop me. So yeah, so using external view by pressing V just to land, just because it's easier to land, you can see the ground a bit better. Although I could try that window in this one. Anyway. Engine's off. I tend to turn the oxygen off too in case it's sort of being used while I'm not in, but I don't think it does use it when you're not in there. And out we get. You can put a fridge in these, which is good if you're collecting a lot of food. The only thing is if you turn the power off, the fridge goes off, so you kind of end up using a bit of power, a bit of fuel to do that. Alright, so back into our ship, and this time I just want to show you why I put the wireless and why I think wireless is essential in your small vessel. I just pushed 1 there, which is because on 1 on my toolbar is the detector, and you can see everything's lit up for, it works for about 20 kilometers or something, or more than that even. So it's showing me there's a silicon deposit here. We'll just snake our way in through these trees to get there. I'm going to try and land pretty much right on top of it to get me as close as possible to the deposit. And on my toolbar, there was, 2 was my Gatling gun, so you've got to select 2 on the toolbar, which selects a Gatling gun, then I can fire the gun. And 1 is the detector. So now we're out of the ship, so we're back to our other toolbar. And I'm just selecting this detector, which we found at the start of the game near the our crashed shuttle. And that just lights it up again for me, and I'll get my survival tool out and we'll do some resource extraction. Accessing the cargo controller, putting the Wi-Fi on. And that's all you need to do. You just need to turn it on, and then you go back to your normal toolbar by just hitting a number on the toolbar. And this is 3 times speed, and we're just mining down, and here we have some silicon. and all that is being automatically sent back to our ship via the Wi-Fi. So I just showed you there was nothing in my inventory. When the Wi-Fi fills up, it does put it in your inventory after that. So it automatically does that. And you can see it there in the ship. So that's why you definitely want Wi-Fi. It just makes mining and stuff like that. Or if you're at a POI and you're looting it, you can just have it there, and big items that you can't physically carry, your ship can carry. So you can automatically send them back if it's too, like if it's something really big. Yeah, and there you go. That's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. Have fun.